Hare Krishna, dear devotees. In this session, we will look at the spiritual master, the guru. We'll look at why a guru is important, what are the types of guru, why we should accept a guru, and once we've accepted a spiritual master, why we should actually formalize our relationship through taking initiation, how we should behave towards our gurus, and a few stories about faith, how we should have faith in our guru. So this is going to be a very, very important session because accepting a guru is the first step in our spiritual journey. So Krishna, before I begin, I'd just like to confirm that nothing that I say here is my own belief or opinion or concoction. These are what I'm going to say is from the scriptures, from the acharyas, where I'm going to quote from different scriptures. So it's all bona fide, and it's not a matter of just me being sentimental. It is actually accepting a guru. Even Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says it's so important to accept a spiritual master. One of the relevant verses where he mentions that is verse 434 in the Bhagavad Gita. So let's take a look at this verse. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. Translation: just try to learn the truth by approaching a spiritual master. Inquire from him submissively and render service unto him. The self-realized souls can impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. So here Krishna raises different points. He talks about how we should behave towards a spiritual master and why we should accept a spiritual master is to get transcendental knowledge, and why from a spiritual master and not from our own knowledge, concoction, guesswork. It's because the spiritual master has seen the truth. He's the seer of the truth. And how we should not just accept a spiritual master, but we should make inquiries is also another very important point. So let us begin by talking about the different types of gurus. So we have a Diksha Guru, and the Diksha Guru is the one who initiates the disciple and officiates connection to the parampara. He gives instructions, he gives a spiritual name, he gives the mantra, he accepts disciples' vows, and he removes disciples' sinful reactions. And according to the scriptures, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Adilila 135, a devotee must have only one Diksha Guru, one initiating spiritual master. And so it's forbidden to have more than one Diksha Guru. However, the second category of gurus, which is the Shiksha Guru, the one who gives instructions. Well, the Shiksha Guru, there is no limit to the number of them that we may accept. The Shiksha Guru informally connects us to the parampara. And then we have the Chaitya Guru. So Krishna expands himself as Kshirodakashaya Vishnu. He enters the heart of every living entity. So Krishna is the original spiritual master, and he resides in the heart of every being as the Chaitya Guru. And it is said that when he sees our sincerity, our desire to know more about him, our desire to serve him, he guides us from within. So he sends us a suitable guru. We may not know where to find our guru or which guru to accept, but Krishna, within our heart, he lends us a helping hand, if we can put it that way. he sends us a suitable guru. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says that only the person that Lord Krishna sends us as the spiritual master will manifest before us as our guru. So we are given a spiritual master according to our fortune. Different people have different mentalities, and the omniscient Lord sends each an appropriate spiritual master. There are those who desire the Lord's non-duplicitous mercy and who completely depend on Him for their success. These souls please the Lord with their simple sincerity. To bestow His mercy upon them, He appears before them personally. To those who want something else from the Lord, who are not actually aspiring for His complete mercy, the Lord sends through His illusory energy. A spiritual master appropriate to the mentality. So a sincere person will never face difficulty, but will quickly find a bona fide guru. So it depends on what's there in our hearts. Are we cheating? Do we have a cheating propensity? Do we want a fake guru? Are we really sincere, or do we want to make a show of accepting a guru because it's a tradition or it's a must? So Krishna knows all of this, and He will send us. So if we have a cheating propensity and we want to put on a show, He will send us a fake guru, and we'll become bewildered and illusioned and accept a guru who is not bona fide. And so basically that's what is being said here. So let's go to the second question. Who is the guru? Prabhupada gives a simple definition. So Prabhupada is our founder Acharya of ISKCON. He gives us a definition for an Acharya. So Prabhupada is actually our Shiksha Guru. He's the Shiksha Guru of all the disciples, all the gurus in ISKCON. He's our Shiksha Guru. We read his books, we listen to his lectures, we take instructions, because he imparts the knowledge which has descended through the parampara system, which we will look at shortly. So Prabhupada gives the definition, and it goes like this, and there are 3 aspects to it. So first, one who knows the scriptural injunctions, and number 2, follows them practically in life, and number 3, teaches them to his disciples. So there are other definitions. So there's the in the Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 145, it is said, Guru Krishna Rupa Hana Shastrira Pramane Guru Rupe Krishna Kripa Karana Bhakta Gane. According to the deliberate opinion of all revealed scriptures, the spiritual master is non-different from Krishna. Lord Krishna, in the form of the spiritual master, delivers his devotees. The relationship of a disciple with his spiritual master is as good as his relationship with the Supreme Lord. Elsewhere in the Srimad Bhagavatam 17:27, it is mentioned, Krishna mentions, one should know the Acharya as myself and never disrespect him in any way. One should not envy him, thinking him an ordinary man, for he is the representative of all the demigods. Acharya mam vijaniyan navamanyate karhichet namartya buddhya suyita sarvadeva mayo guruhu. So we can understand that the guru is not just a person. Some people who are ignorant may see devotees bowing down and they may say, oh, this is just an ordinary man, and these people are fools. They're worshipping an ordinary man. So actually, Every morning, all the temples, the ISKCON temples, will begin the day by singing the Guru Puja, the Guru Vashtakam by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. And it's mentioned Sakshadharidve Nasamashtar Shastre Uktastata Bhavyata Vasadpir. So the spiritual master is honored as much as the Supreme Lord because he's the most confidential servitor of the Lord. So the Guru, therefore, is he's worshipable because he's a representative of Krishna. So Krishna, he cannot just appear before us to give us instructions because we are not qualified to see him. We're not qualified to hear him. We are sinful. So by his mercy, he manifests himself as the Guru to save the fallen souls and give enlightenment. So the next question we can ask is, why is a guru needed? So here we can see already that in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says we need to approach a spiritual master in order to get transcendental knowledge. So if we believe in Krishna, we have faith in him, we've surrendered unto him, then all his instructions need to be abided by, because that is excuse me, the very meaning of surrender is to accept the instructions of Krishna. And he says, it's the verdict of all scriptures actually, that a guru is important. And even Krishna, when he came down in Dwapara Yuga, we can see on the right, Krishna accepted a guru, Sandipani Muni, and he would serve his guru and take instructions and get knowledge from his guru. Now we know Krishna is the supreme, Krishna and Balaram are the supreme lord of the three worlds. They are the source of all spiritual and material worlds. They are the knowers of the Vedas. Krishna is a speaker of the Vedas, and yet he leads by example. He follows his own instructions that we should accept a guru, and he teaches us. And even when Krishna came 500 years ago in this Kali Yuga as Lord Chaitanya in the middle picture, we can see he accepted a guru again. He accepted Ishwara Puri as his guru, and he served him. And once he invited him home and made all kinds of palatable dishes and took care of his guru. So if the Lord himself accepts the spiritual teacher, then who are we to reject this instruction and not accept the guru? Even in Treta Yuga, we can see on the left, Lord Ram, he accepted Vashishta Muni as his guru, as his teacher as well. So basically, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that whatever actions the great man performs, the common man follows, and whatever examples he sets, whatever standards he sets by exemplary actions, the whole world pursues. So that's why he is showing us here. He doesn't need a guru, but he's showing us that we need one. So the Guru Parampara is something we have to talk about, because the Guru belongs to this authentic line of knowledge. He as Krishna says, he has seen the truth. He imparts knowledge. So there are actually, so we can see here, Lord Krishna, he imparts knowledge to Lord Brahma, Lakshmi Devi, Lord Shiva, and 4 Kumaras, and these 4 personalities go on to appoint acharyas, and they pass on the knowledge. So ISKCON belongs to the so in ISKCON we belong to the Brahma Gaudiya Sampradaya, which is knowledge coming from Lord Brahma. So in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, imparts knowledge. So here we can see the Parampara system, the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So Krishna imparts knowledge to Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma then passes on the knowledge to Narad Muni, his son, and Narad Muni to Vyasadeva. We know Vyasadeva, the literary incarnation that Krishna compiled the 4 Vedas and the 18 Puranas and the 108 Upanishads and the Mahabharata. The Bhagavad Gita is part of Mahabharata, and he compiled Srimad Bhagavatam as well. And the Srila Vyasadeva imparted it to Madhava and then Padmanabha. So it's disciplic succession, which means the guru passes on knowledge to disciple, and the disciple becomes a guru and passes on the knowledge to another disciple. So it's guru, teacher to disciple. Basically, the teachings flow from the teacher to the disciple, and so we can see the whole succession of spiritual teachers passing down the knowledge unchanged. So the guru has seen the truth through the Parampara system. It's not that he has come up with it, he's speculated on things, he's written down his own commentary. He has seen the truth through the Parampara system, and he is therefore authorized to pass the knowledge. So that's what Krishna means when he says that the guru has seen the truth. He's seen the truth through the Parampara system. We can see number 22, Lord Chaitanya, who is Krishna himself, is there in that. And as we move on, we reach number 32, and we can see this is our founder, Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who has passed on the knowledge unadulterated. He's written so many books, translated so many scriptures for our own benefit to save the fallen souls of Kali Yuga. And we can see, so our Prabhupada 32 has his own guru, who is 31, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And then if we go to 30, that's Gaura Kishore Das Babaji, who's a teacher of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And then we have number 29, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, number 28, Jagannath Das Babaji. So these are the acharyas. We have the 6 Goswamis as well, who are on the top right. They helped Lord Chaitanya to impart the knowledge as well. So the Parampara system, therefore, we can say, is a foundation of our devotional service. It's a foundation of our movement. It's the principles, a basic principle of devotional service. We don't do anything independently. Whatever we do, so if we're worshipping, we ask our guru to pass on the prayers to Krishna through the Parampara system. If we're offering bhoga to Krishna, fruits, vegetables, and donations, we ask our acharyas, we offer to our acharyas and ask them to offer to the Lord, to Lord Chaitanya, and Lord Chaitanya to the Lord on our behalf. If we're trying to acquire transcendental knowledge, again, it's through the guru. Before preaching or before any activity, we sing mantras to seek blessings of our gurus. So we don't concoct, speculate, or manufacture anything. We take shelter of the guru. So that is the Parampara, authentic lines of knowledge. And it is even said in the Padma Puran that any mantra that does not come in disciplic succession is considered to be useless. So Lord Chaitanya, he gave us a mantra, and of course we came to know about it through our Prabhupada here. So the mantra is a Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, and it's not just an ordinary mundane sound. It is a very important mantra passed down through disciplic succession from Krishna, and that's the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. For example, this mantra is passed down the disciplic succession. Nowadays, we have very fake gurus who just say, "Oh, give me some money and I'll give you a mantra," and it's a mantra that he concocted himself. That is not coming from any of these 4 lines, authentic lines. So we need to beware of these gurus and always stick to the parampara. It is said that. So the question, just to remind us, what are we talking about here? We're talking about why a guru is needed. So we continue on. So it is said that the lotus feet of a guru, the spiritual master, are like a boat that can take us to the other side of the ocean of material existence, ultimately leading to liberation and the attainment of pure devotional service or the mercy of the Supreme Lord. So we should board this boat as soon as possible to get to the other side of material suffering existence. So there are many quotations in scriptures. Here we have one where our founder Acharya A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada quotes from his own guru, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And he says, "My spiritual master used to say, the spiritual master is the transparent via medium. For example, I can see the letters of this book very nicely through these transparent eyeglasses, without which I cannot see because my eyes are defective. Similarly, our senses are all defective. We cannot see God with these eyes. We cannot hear Hare Krishna with these ears. We cannot do anything without the via medium of the spiritual master. Just as a defective eye cannot see without the via media of spectacles, so one cannot approach the Supreme Lord without the transparent via medium of the spiritual master. Transparent means that the via medium must be free of contamination. If it is transparent, one can see through it." So Prabhupada tells us, this is the quotation from his guru, and this is from the Science of Self-Realization. So we can understand, therefore, that by our own senses we can't perceive Krishna or understand anything. So there are 2 ways of acquiring transcendental knowledge, and that's the ascending or the descending process. The ascending one is a process where we try by our own guesswork or by our own senses, we try to understand the transcendental subject matters by investigating, and this is not the best method because our senses are imperfect. We have certain tendencies, we are illusioned, we have tendency to commit mistakes, we have a cheating propensity. So because of all these defects there, we cannot acquire knowledge by our own endeavors. We need to rely on the descending process of acquiring knowledge. And what's the descending process? It's what we saw, how the knowledge descends through the parampara system. That would be the descending process. So we should accept from the previous acharyas the knowledge as it comes down. We cannot learn simply by investigating, reading books. Simply by reading books, nobody has become a successful medical practitioner or an architect. Although a lot of textbooks are available on these subject matters, people have actually had to go to university to acquire knowledge and learn from a teacher. In the same way, for spiritual matters, we can't simply learn verses by heart or read the Bhagavad Gita in a scholarly manner. In order to have realization, we should approach a spiritual master. And in the Mahabharata, Van Parva 313.117, it is mentioned, it is very difficult to understand the secret of Krishna consciousness, but one who advances by the instructions of the previous acharyas and follows in the footsteps of his predecessors in the line of disciplic succession will have success. So how Krishna mentions a very important point here. He says, inquire. So we need to make inquiries. So by questions and answers to our Guru, we will gradually learn what pure devotional service to Krishna is and what pleases Krishna, how we should serve him. So our Guru, he helps us to apply the knowledge that we acquire from books, by reading Prabhupada's books. He helps us to apply this knowledge, and based on our different affinities, he engages us in the service of Krishna. So in the Padma Puran, Lord Shiva told the goddess Durga, "Oh, my dear Devi, although the Vedas recommend worship of the demigods, the worship of Lord Vishnu is topmost. However, above the worship of Lord Vishnu is the rendering of service to Vaishnavas who are related to Lord Vishnu." And the verse is Aradhananam Sarvesham Vishnor Aradhanam Param Tasmat Paratam Devi Tadiyanam Samarchanam. And from the Adi Puran we hear Lord Krishna told Arjuna, "Those who are my direct devotees are actually not my devotees, but those who are the devotees of my servant are factually my devotees." And we know in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Chaitanya himself says, "Gopi Bhatter Padakamalyor Das Das Anudas." And that's similar to what we've just read from the Adi Puran here. And we hear that Lord Kapila says, so we know Lord Kapila is the empowered incarnation of the Lord. He says in the book, we can get this from the books Teachings of Lord Kapila, chapter 13. He says, "The Guru does not accept respect from his disciple for his personal self, but he conveys this respect to Krishna. Thus the mercy of Krishna comes." So the mercy of Krishna comes all the way down through the parampara system. And the respect we offer to our gurus, then who offers it to the next guru. So the respect that we offer to Krishna is offered up the parampara, offered up through the parampara system. So we offer respect to our guru, and in this way, this respect goes all the way to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the method, by being servant of the servant. So we can't approach Krishna directly. We can't skip to Krishna, because Krishna is not that easily approachable. We are very sinful. We are not qualified to approach him directly. But if we approach him through the Guru, then all the respect, all our worship is channeled to him by the Guru and goes all the way to Krishna. And Prabhupada never says, Prabhupada was very, very humble person. He would never accept appreciation for himself, actually. As we saw, the Guru doesn't accept respect. He channels it, he gives it to Krishna. So Prabhupada said in a letter once to his disciple, Bhagavan, he said, I also thank you very much for your appreciation of my books and letters and for my speaking in the meetings. They are not my words, as I have repeatedly informed you that I am simply the bearer of the message from Lord Chaitanya through the disciplic succession, and I do not make any addition or subtraction. But similarly, if you all carry these words successively, then the transcendental parampara system will be exactly maintained, and people in general will be benefited. So Prabhupada, we can see he is the perfect example of a guru, both in his words and in the examples. He was very humble and never accept praise for himself. So Lord Chaitanya actually confirmed that Prabhupada was not just an ordinary person, that he was sent by Krishna. Lord Chaitanya says in the Chaitanya Mangal, he says, taking the sharp sword of the congregational chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, I will root out and destroy the demoniac mentality in the hearts of all the conditioned souls. If some sinful persons escape and giving up religious principles, going far off to far off countries, then my Senapati Bhakta will come at that time to give them Krishna consciousness. So his Senapati Bhakta, his commander in charge, is Prabhupada, none other. And so Prabhupada his appearance is predicted in the scriptures, so he's not just an ordinary man. And in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned, Sadhu Sangha Sarva Shastrikaya Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha Sarva Siddhihaya. The verdict of all revealed scriptures is that by even a moment's association with a pure devotee, one can attain all success. So what is the success we're talking about? It's not material success, it's spiritual success. So we know that people go to places of pilgrimage, go to the Ganga, bathe in the Ganga to wash away sinful reactions. But actually the Ganga, she is, in order to get freed from all these sinful reactions, we have to bathe so many times. But in contrast, just associating with a pure devotee there at the site of pilgrimage who is busy engaging in spreading Krishna Katha, just one moment association with that devotee will wash away all the sins from our previous lives. Such is the potency, the spiritual potency of a pure Vaishnava, a pure devotee of the Lord, who is the spiritual master. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19.151, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says, by the mercy of both Krishna and the spiritual master, such a person receives the seed of the creeper of devotional service. So here's another example of why we should accept the Guru, because the Guru is like a gardener. He sows the seed of devotion, of bhakti in our heart. But obviously then it is our responsibility to water that seed, nourish it, so it can grow into the bhakti lata, the creeper of devotion. And how do we water that seed? It's through sadhu sangha, associating with devotees, sadhana, our own sadhana, how we're chanting, we're worshipping the Lord, we're hearing instructions, Krishna Katha, and also through service to Vaishnavas, we can water our seeds. By faithful and devotional service to the spiritual master, one can transcend the modes of material nature. So Krishna has talked about these modes of material nature that the conditioned soul is being afflicted by. these modes, it is said, so there is a verse here. Rajastamas chasatvena satvam chopasamena cha etat sarvam guru bhaktya purusho hi anjasa jayat. Translation: one must conquer the modes of passion and ignorance by developing the mode of goodness, and then one must become detached from the mode of goodness by promoting oneself to the platform of Shuddha Sattva. All this can be automatically done if one engages in the service of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. In this way, one can conquer the influence of the modes of nature. Just by treating the root cause of an ailment, we can conquer all bodily pains and sufferings. Similarly, if we're devoted and faithful to a spiritual master, we can conquer the influence of these modes of goodness, sattva guna, raja guna, tama guna, very easily through devotion and faith to the spiritual master. So yogis and jnanis can practice in many ways to conquer the senses, but the bhakta, so the one who is engaged in bhakti yoga, who is worshipping Krishna through the guru, the bhakta immediately attains the mercy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the mercy of the spiritual master. So it's like a fast tracking. So imagine we're at the airport and we've got two queues. There's a fast track queue, and then there is a normal queue. And the normal queue is the jnanis and the yogis who will queue up there. And the fast track will be the bhaktas. So who will board Vaikuntha Airlines, the airline that will take us to the eternal abode of the Lord? Is it the jnanis or the devotees, the bhaktas? So the bhaktas will board Vaikuntha and will go to Vaikuntha earlier, faster. So through bhakti yoga, through worship of the Guru. So here, just a reminder, we're looking at some evidence from the scriptures and what the scriptures have to say about the importance of accepting a guru. And now let's talk about Rupa Goswami. So Rupa Goswami is a great acharya, one of the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan. He mentions that the basic principles, the first 5 basic principles of devotional service, he mentions them as follows. So number 1, very first instruction, accepting the shelter of the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master. Number 2, becoming initiated by the spiritual master. And learning how to discharge devotional service from him. Number 3, obeying the orders of the spiritual master with faith and devotion. Number 4, following in the footsteps of great acharyas, teachers under the direction of the spiritual master. Number 5, inquiring from the spiritual master how to advance in Krishna consciousness. So we can see how important it is. So in this connection, we can see number 2, Rupa Goswami says, becoming initiated by the spiritual master. So accepting the shelter of the lotus feet is simply not enough. We need to formalize this surrender by taking initiation. So we may have chosen a spiritual master, accepted him in our heart, accepted his instructions, but we do need to get initiated. We do need to formalize the relationship by taking initiation. So initiation, according to the nectar of devotion, the connection with the spiritual master is called initiation. So from the date of initiation by the spiritual master, the connection between Krishna and a person cultivating Krishna consciousness is established. Without initiation by a bona fide spiritual master, the actual connection with Krishna consciousness is never performed. Prabhupada mentions in his Nectar of Devotion. So, initiation, Diksha. Diksha means initiation, to begin transcendental activities. So there is, practical terms, there is a fire yagya, and the devotee will accept beads from the Guru. The Guru will give the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to the disciple, and the disciple makes vows to chant 16 rounds and follow the 4 regulative principles, which are no meat eating, so no eating of fish, eggs, or onions and garlic. Number 2, no illicit sex, so only a sexual relationship with the partner whom one has married, and only at the time of wanting to have children. And then there is no gambling, and so we mentioned no intoxication, no gambling, no meat eating, and no illicit sex. So these 4. So one vows and before deities, or takes before the fire, and there is a yagya, and so we accept Diksha Guru. And it is mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas that unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. So we know in the scriptures there is mention of transmigration of the soul. So the soul accepts various bodies, from aquatics to plants to insects to higher animals. And then we reach at some point the human body. And this human body is a very valuable body where we can, because of our intelligence, understand transcendental subject matters, and that's the opportunity, very precious opportunity, to break free from the cycle of birth and death and return back to Golok Vrindavan, the eternal abode of the Lord. So one who's not properly initiated can descend. There's every danger of falling back into the animal species. It is the duty of every human being, it is mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 2.10, to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, giving him everything, body, mind, and intelligence. One must take a Vaishnava initiation from him. So 2.6, 2.10 in Bhakti Vilas mention these, how it's so important to take initiation. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is mentioned that Diksha Kale Bhakta Kare Atma Samarpana Se Kale Krishna Tare Kare Atma Sama. At the time of initiation, when a devotee fully surrenders unto the service of the Lord, Krishna accepts him to be as good as himself. Then it is mentioned, Seideha Kare Tara Chidananda Maya Aprakrita Dehetan Tanra Charane Bhajaya. When the devotee's body is thus transformed into spiritual existence, the devotee in that transcendental body renders service to the lotus feet of the Lord. So, at the time of Diksha, so the spiritual master, Prabhupada says, accepts the sinful activities of his disciples. So the disciples can start afresh, like a clean slate. The sinful activities are taken on by the spiritual master. Such is the mercy of the Diksha Guru, that he accepts the sinful activities of his disciples from the first initiation. Prabhupada said in a letter to Jadurani, a disciple once, he said, the spiritual master accepts the sinful activities of his disciples from the first initiation. I may give initiation very easily, but what can I do? I am prepared to go to hell for service of the So also in the Padma Puran, it is mentioned for a mantra to have effect. So we're talking about the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra here. It must be received from a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession. Unless you are initiated by a bona fide spiritual master in the disciplic succession, the mantra that you might have received is without any effect. So that is very, very serious. For any devotee chanting the Maha Mantra, it is important that it should be received. Should receive the chanting beads from the Guru. Also, if a devotee wants to preach, so Srimad Bhagavatam 387, to preach Vedic knowledge, one must have heard from the proper authority in disciplic succession. So there is the emphasis on being part of the disciplic succession, and so we can do that by accepting a spiritual master. So next, let's take a look at how our behavior should be towards a guru, what the etiquette is. So when we have accepted a guru, how should we behave? So the most important is we should have faith in the instructions of our guru. It is mentioned in the Svetasvatara Upanishad, only unto those great souls who simultaneously have implicit faith in both the Lord and the spiritual master are all the imports of Vedic knowledge automatically revealed. And so in this connection, there is a story of an illiterate Brahmin. So we can see the Brahmin here on the bottom. So there was an illiterate Brahmin. His guru told him to read the Bhagavad Gita. So every day he would go to the temple. If I am not mistaken, it's in South India. So he would go to the temple, and there he would try to read the Bhagavad Gita. He couldn't read properly. He was illiterate, and yet because his guru gave him the instruction, he would follow it every day without any thoughts of, oh, that's a useless instruction, I can't read, so why should I follow this? He had implicit faith in his guru, and he would go there and try to read. And when he would read, he would look at the front page of the Bhagavad Gita, where we know it's the picture on the front page is commonly it's Krishna as a chariot driver of Arjuna on the chariot. So whenever he would see this picture, tears would flow profusely out of his eyes. But the other Brahmins who saw him were mocking him and ridiculing him, like, oh, look at this Brahmin, he can't read anything, and yet he's sitting there with the Bhagavad Gita pretending to read, and they were ridiculing and mocking him. Now one day, Lord Chaitanya, who is none other than Krishna himself, was touring South India, visiting the temples, and he came to that temple and saw that Brahmin sitting there with the Bhagavad Gita and crying profusely. He was very touched. He approached the Brahmin and said, "My dear sir, why are you crying? What is making you cry in the Bhagavad Gita? Why these tears?" And so the Brahmin, who could not recognize Lord Chaitanya as Krishna, he said, "Oh, well, when I look at I am illiterate and I don't know how to read, so, but my guru told me to read every day, and so I'm just following his instructions, but I can't read a word of Bhagavad Gita, I don't understand anything, but when I see Krishna agreeing to be the chariot driver of Arjuna, I feel great affection and love, and I think, how can Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the creator of all material and spiritual worlds, how he becomes a chariot driver out of humility and love for his devotees. Krishna is Bhakta Vatsalya, and he has so much love for his devotee that he agrees to become the servant of his devotee. When I see this, tears flow from my eyes. And Lord Chaitanya, when he heard this, he was very happy. He hugged, he embraced the Brahmin, and he said, so appreciating the Brahmin's submissiveness to his guru and his love for Krishna, Lord Chaitanya said, "You are the best reader of the Bhagavad Gita. Whatever you know constitutes the real essence of the Gita." And so the Lord was really delighted. He was very, very happy and very pleased with this Brahmin. And actually, Lord Chaitanya, as we said, was Lord Krishna himself in the form of a sannyasi. And by the Lord's mercy, this understanding that Lord Chaitanya was not different from Krishna was revealed to the Brahmin, and he became very happy. He caught the Lord's feet and expressed his feelings. And he said, "Upon seeing you, my happiness knows no bounds. You're the same Lord Krishna." So we can see that this Brahmin, he had no scholarly knowledge. He was not intelligent enough to be able to read. And yet, he got Krishna in the end. He saw Krishna face to face in the end. So we understand that scholarship isn't essential for understanding the scriptures, but we only have to have faith in the Guru and devotion to the Guru and to Krishna, and we will reach Krishna, we'll reach all perfection in our life. So that was a very nice story. So faith in the instructions of the Guru, therefore, very, very important. So we should also be able to surrender to our Guru, be very submissive. We may be very rich, so we should surrender him. We should give him our opulences. We can be very intelligent, so we should give our Guru our intelligence. So as said previously in the Hari Bhakta Vilas, we should give our Guru everything: body, mind, intelligence. So Arjuna, for example, we see in the beginning he was behaving like a friend. He saw Krishna as his friend, and he was refusing to fight on the basis of family traditions being broken, women becoming widows, society becoming chaotic. He thought he was very intelligent. He knew what he was doing. At that time, Krishna did not say anything. Krishna did not say, "No, you're not saying the right thing. You should listen to me. I'll give you instructions." Krishna never said that. He kept quiet. He didn't give any instructions. So Arjuna was saying, so only when Arjuna understood, he became completely bewildered and helpless, and he needed Krishna desperately. When he surrendered and he said, "Now I am confused about my duty, and I have lost all composure because of miserly weakness. In this condition, I am asking you to tell me for certain what's best for me. Now I am your disciple and a soul surrendered unto you. Please instruct me." So only then Krishna stepped in. When Arjuna accepted him in surrender as his spiritual master, only then Krishna started to speak and give instructions. Krishna accepted him as his disciple. So we should also be surrendering like Arjuna. When we bow down, for example, before our Guru, that's an act of physical submission, signifying we're surrendering our body. But this should be accompanied actually by the consciousness of one seeking shelter from a storm, it is said. So it's not only a physical thing, but in our mind also, our consciousness should be that we are actually giving our Guru, we're So the process of surrender under guidance of a guru is, as Prabhupada says, it's suicide of the ego. As I said, we may be very, very eminent personality, very rich, or have a lot of prestige in society or status, but when we surrender, it's a suicide to the ego. The guru may chastise, but a disciple should not retaliate or give up his guru, because in the Hari Bhakti Vilas it is mentioned that even the vultures do not eat the dead bodies of those ungrateful persons who give up their guru. Their intellect is foul, the degradation manifest. One who rejects the guru also rejects Hari, that lowest of men, who having attained a guru gives him up through ignorance, will burn in hell during 10 million kalpas. It is mentioned in the Hari Bhakti Vilas 4363 to 4365. So we should not develop resentment if our guru is trying to correct us. We should be submissive. We should a disciple should always remain a fool before his spiritual master, not challenge or think oneself to be more intelligent. So we may know a lot, or we may have done our own research, but our spiritual master is not somebody we will show off to or challenge. We should accept whatever instructions. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is none other than Krishna himself, he presented the perfect example of how to be a disciple. He says, my spiritual master considered me a fool and said, you're not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. And Lord Chaitanya said, I took the instruction of my spiritual master to heart, and I always chant the holy name. So we can understand Lord Chaitanya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was called a fool by his guru, and he was told, you're too foolish to understand the philosophy of Vedanta. So understand knowledge. You better just stick to chanting the holy name. And Lord Chaitanya didn't retaliate. He didn't say, how dare you, I'm the Supreme Lord. He just submissively accepted whatever his guru said, the instruction of his guru. And Lord Chaitanya, actually, there's, I can't remember if I mentioned, but Lord Chaitanya, he used to be, for the first 16 years of his life, he was a scholar. So he was very, very knowledgeable in Vedanta philosophy and in Vedic knowledge. And he was actually teaching to others. But, as we know, scholarship is different from bhakti. He didn't have bhakti for Krishna, apparently. Anyway, that's what he was portraying. And when did he start chanting the holy name and spreading the Sankirtan movement? When did he take up Bhakti Yoga? Is only after he accepted his guru, Ishvara Puri. So Ishvara Puri planted the seed of Bhakti as such. And so only after that he started to develop symptoms of love of Godhead, and he started the Sankirtan movement. So this is a very important lesson, that when we become submissive to our guru and surrender to him, only then will we attain all success and develop bhakti for Krishna. So next, Krishna makes a very important point in this verse. He says, so we talked about submissiveness, surrender. He says, inquire from him. So it is, it's not that we just have a spiritual master and just worship him. We should inquire, ask questions about the subject matter of Bhakti Yoga, how to become a better devotee, how to serve Krishna better, how to get rid of the bad qualities, our anarthas, lust, anger, greed, pride, illusion, envy. So Pariprashnena sevaya. So pariprashnena means we have to make inquiries. It is not that we have to blindly surrender, but we should ask questions with intelligence. We may have a very good spiritual master, but if we have no power to inquire, then we won't be able to make progress. So without inquiry, we can't make progress. It is a sign of intelligence when, say, a child inquires from the father, what is this? How do things work? What is that? So, yes, we need to present ourselves as a fool, but we should ask questions which are not very, very foolish, as in we should ask questions which are intelligent, which are for our own benefit or benefit of others. So also important is, so we said we have to have faith in the instructions of our guru. We should surrender and be submissive. We should inquire. We should obey instructions. So being a disciple, Prabhupada says, means to voluntarily agree. Agree to what? Agree to become disciplined by the spiritual master. Disciplined disciple. One should strictly execute the order of the guru, follow instructions given by the guru at the time of initiation, even at the inconvenience of personal comfort. And this is what will bring advancement on the path of devotional service. So we make the vow of following the 4 regulative principles, chanting 16 rounds, minimum 16 rounds. So these are to be followed, and other instructions as well given at any other time by the guru. So Prabhupada is an example of somebody who obeyed the instructions of his spiritual master. He actually not only obeyed the instructions of the spiritual master, but he made the instructions his life mission, his very goal in his life. We know that his spiritual master, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, instructed Prabhupada to make the teachings of Bhagavad Gita available to the English-speaking world. And so Prabhupada took this very, very seriously. He left the comfort of Vrindavan, of Shri Radha Damodar temple, where he was translating literature. He left his comfort zone and he went to New York, all the way to New York, with hardly any money, on a cargo ship, which is not even meant to carry passengers, with just some books. And he spread the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra throughout the world in only 12 years, because he wanted to make the wishes of Lord Chaitanya come true. Lord Chaitanya, he wanted that as many towns and villages as they are on the surface of the globe, that his name should be broadcast, that the Maha Mantra should spread. Prabhupada, he made the wishes of Lord Chaitanya come true. He opened 108 temples throughout the world and wrote so many books, translated so many literatures. So this is an example that we should follow in the footsteps of Prabhupada. Whenever our Guru gives us an instruction, it should be our life and soul to fulfill these desires and instructions of our Guru. So the Guru can teach through his writings, his letters, his conversations, public lectures, personal conversations. The Guru teaches us how to apply the knowledge in books. He knows how to engage us based on our propensities, our talents, our desires. Based on what's important, he knows how to engage his disciples in Krishna's service. So it is in the interest of every disciple to follow the instructions of his guru. It is actually an offense to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. It's the third offense to the holy name. We know there are 10 offenses to the holy name, which should be avoided if we want to attain success in chanting Hare Krishna, in attaining the results of chanting Hare Krishna. So Prabhupada says actually that the spiritual master remains in the material universe until all his disciples are transferred to the spiritual sky. So if the disciple due to offenses takes longer to go back to the abode of Krishna, the guru has to incarnate again to deliver him. And that's what Prabhupada writes in the letter to Jai Pataka. He wrote in 1969 a letter to his disciple Jai Pataka. So it's very important to obey the instructions, because if we start to do things according to our own whims, as mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, giving up the regulative principles, living according to one's whim, is compared to a mad elephant, which by force uproots the bhakti lata, so the creeper of devotion, and breaks it to pieces. In this way, the bhakti lata shrivels up. Such an offense is especially created when one disobeys the instructions of the spiritual master, and this is called guru avagya. So the devotee must therefore be very careful not to commit offenses against the spiritual master by disobeying his instructions. As soon as one is deviated from the instructions of the spiritual master, the uprooting of the bhakti lata begins, and gradually all the leaves dry up. And that's from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila 9.156. So obeying the instructions of the spiritual master will make the spiritual master very happy. So it is the duty of a disciple. It is a disciple's, it's in his interest to make his guru happy, because then all blessings will come from Krishna. When Hari is angry, it is said the guru can save. When the guru is angry, nobody can save. Therefore, with all our efforts, we should try to please our guru. In the Brahma-Vaivarta Puran, it is said that even striking or cursing, illusioned or angry, the guru is worshipable. By the mercy of our guru, if our guru is pleased, we get the mercy of Krishna. And if our guru approves, he says, here's a nice devotee, then Krishna will accept. Yes, here's a nice devotee, Prabhupada says. So next, we should render menial service. In this verse 434, Krishna says, render service unto him. Serving the guru is very important. And when a guru sees that his disciple is rendering very nice service to him, is seeing the faith and respectful behavior of a sincere disciple, the bona fide spiritual master will then bestow his mercy. So to be a servant of our guru, we can't, or Krishna, we can't just have a little sentiment there in our heart, oh, I'm the servant. We actually have to show in our action as well. So it has to be a manifestation, has to be there of what's in our heart, the servant attitude. So menial service in particular is important because it helps us develop humility. It helps to develop the servitude attitude too. So service is actually, it's said is to be a privilege which is extended to a conditioned soul by the mercy of a guru. So guru doesn't accept the service for himself, he accepts the service on behalf of Krishna. So we can see there's a lot of menial service we can do for our guru. Prabhupada says we could cook for him, clean his room, do his laundry, do some shopping for him, or if it's traveling around, carry his belongings, travel with him. So we can see in the picture in the middle, Prabhupada is actually being massaged by his disciple. I know there's a disciple called Shruti Kirti. Prabhu would do this massage daily of Prabhupada. Here on the left, we can see Jagannath Das Babaji, one of the gurus in the Parampara. So we saw Jagannath Das Babaji here, number 28. He was very, very old. Actually, he was more than 120 years old. So in that old age, he couldn't walk very well. He couldn't walk. So he was then carried everywhere in a basket by his disciple, whom we see here called Bihari, who was very blessed for doing this. So it's a service to the Guru, and we've mentioned why when we serve the Guru, he becomes happy and he bestows all his mercy on the disciple. So in this connection, rendering menial service, we have a beautiful story of Dasharati. So Dasharati was a great scholar. So he was very learned, but at the same time he was a disciple of the great Acharya Ramanuja. So Ramanuja, once Dasharati approached him and asked his spiritual teacher to explain the meaning of the final instruction of Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Now at that same time, the Guru didn't have time to explain, but at that time, the sister of Ramanuja Acharya, Atule, she arrived and she is very, very distressed and she's in anxiety. So Ramanuja Acharya asked her, so what's wrong? Why are you so upset? And then the sister said, well, my father has sent me here, dear brother. At my father-in-law's house daily, I had to collect water from a lake, which was over 2 miles away. I had to bring water twice a day, and the road was very rough and deserted. I get scared and I'm very exhausted with the effort. And my mother-in-law, she says, she was very angry and she told me, well, then go get a servant from your father's house for the job. And so I was asked by father to approach you. So Ramanuja immediately said, oh, don't worry, my dear sister, I will send somebody with you who will help you to cook food, fetch the water for you, and do some chores. And who did he choose? The scholarly Dasharati. Now Dasharati, his pride didn't swell up, and he didn't say, oh, no way, I'm just too intelligent for that, I'm good at giving classes, or I can't become a servant. No, instead he gladly followed Ramanuja's sister to her father-in-law's house, and there, with great attention, great care, he began working in the kitchen. He helped her to carry the water, and in this way 6 months passed by. And one day, a group of people gathered in the village to attend a lecture, and Dasharati was among the crowd. And the speaker gave some faulty explanation of a Sanskrit shloka. And Dasharati couldn't restrain himself after hearing this misinterpretation. So, being a scholar, he couldn't take this. He stood up and he pointed out these errors. And obviously, the speaker got very furious and said, no, you stop, you fool. How can a servant explain the scriptures to me? Go back to the kitchen. But so Dasharati wasn't annoyed, discouraged. He calmly went on explaining what the shloka's correct meaning was. And his presentation was flawless, and it was based on many scriptures, and everyone in the assembly, including the speaker who was very angry with him, became speechless. They realized the mistake. And so the speaker begged pardon and fell at Dasharati's feet. So everyone was very surprised. What could a learned scholar be doing in the kitchen, doing menial work, working as a servant? And so Dasharati replied, I am simply following the order of my guru. When all the people learned that he was the famous devotee scholar, they went to Sri Rangam and they asked Ramanuja Acharya, please bring back Dasharati to you. His heart is free of any pride, although he's so knowledgeable. Ramanuja Acharya was very pleased to hear people praising his disciple in such a way. And he said, yes, I will come with you and bring him back. And so he did. He personally went to bring back Dasharati. So Dasharati was very happy. He bowed down to Ramanuja, and who then embraced him and blessed him profusely. He was so pleased with his disciple. And they returned to Sri Rangam. And then Ramanuja Acharya explained to Dasharati Lord Krishna's final instruction to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, which reveals how a devotee should take shelter of the Lord. So by his selfless and humble service, we can see that Dasharati received the learning of Bhagavad Gita from his guru. So we can see a true disciple will not doubt his guru's instructions. He'll accept them with faith, putting aside all pride. So because he obeyed and kept strong faith in the instructions of Ramanuja Acharya, he became the recipient of divine knowledge from his guru. So this should be very instructive to us all. We should learn to take shelter and serve in a humble way like Dasharati. So next we need to look at the qualities of a guru. So when we are choosing a guru, who is a guru? What are the qualities of a guru? So in the Upadesh Amrita, verse 1, a little description is given here. A translation is of the verse: a sober person who can tolerate the urge to speak, the mind's demands, the actions of anger, and the urges of the tongue, belly, and genitals is qualified to make disciples all over the world. So a bona fide guru does not impart some self-styled, concocted knowledge. His knowledge is standard and received from the parampara system that we talked about. He is also firmly fixed in the service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahmanishtam. These are his two qualifications. He must have heard the Vedic knowledge through the disciplic succession, who must be established in service to the Supreme Lord. So there are other quotations of how a guru should be, qualities of a guru. So Srimad Bhagavatam 11.3.21, for example, says Tasmad gurum prapadyeta jigyasu shreya uttamam shabde paracha nish natam brahmani upashamashrayam. Therefore, any person who seriously desires real happiness must seek a bona fide spiritual master to take shelter of him by initiation. The qualification of the bona fide guru is that he has realized the conclusions of the scriptures by deliberation, and he is able to convince others of these conclusions. Such great personalities who have taken shelter of the Supreme Godhead, leaving aside all material considerations, should be understood to be bona fide spiritual master. So when we're choosing a guru, we have to make sure that he has realized the absolute truth, and he should be able to impart this truth to his disciple, and a disciple should only accept initiation from a spiritual master after developing firm and mature faith that this devotee will be able to take them back to Godhead. So it is the personal responsibility of a candidate for initiation to correctly choose by exercising own intelligence. So a devotee should be familiar with Prabhupada, his teachings, the scriptures, so he can use it as standard for comparing what the prospective guru is teaching and see if it aligns, because all the gurus in ISKCON accept Prabhupada as their Shiksha guru. So their instructions and teachings should align with Prabhupada's teachings. They should faithfully represent Prabhupada in their word, in their deed, in their teachings. They should be following, they should be worshipping and be faithful to their own guru, also their own spiritual master. They should be committed to Prabhupada's mission. And so we should be. So how do we choose our guru? We can see if we're inspired by his lectures, or are we uplifted by his example, his interactions with his disciples, by his words. Do we feel a connection? Do we feel we will want to worship this person and follow the instructions for life? Is the guru responsive to the governing body commission that Prabhupada has set up? How does that guru interact with his own peers? If we want to serve our guru menially, we may want him to come to our country. So how often does he visit the country? Are we able to travel to wherever he is? So from time to time, if we want to be in contact with him. So all of these are a few considerations that we have to take. So with regards to association, we don't really always have to be physically present with our guru. There's two ways we can associate with guru: by vapu, which means physical presence, or vani, and vani means the words. Vani continues to exist eternally. Vani is more important than vapu. Obviously, we should not neglect worship of our guru, be serving him personally, but Vani is more important, and it's more important to carry out the teachings of our guru than to actually worship his form. So a disciple has to, when he executes the mission of the spiritual master, he immediately associates with the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the Vani. So Prabhupada himself said, "Please always try to remember me by my teachings, and we shall always be together. Just like I have written in the first publications, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the spiritual master lives forever by his divine instruction, and the disciple lives with him. Because I have always served my Guru Maharaj, followed his teachings, I am now even never separated from him," Prabhupada says. So real association, Prabhupada says, is when you're helping my missionary activities. I'm always thinking of you, and you're always thinking of me, and that is real association. Prabhupada gives instructions to a disciple, so we can learn very much from this. So a spiritual master, he teaches by examples. He should have qualities of a sadhu. So peacefulness, sense control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, faith in the Guru, in God. He must engage himself and others in glorifying Krishna, glorifying God, the Lord, as the ultimate activity for human society. He should not divert his energies to material welfare work. The Guru's character must be pure. He must rigidly follow all the religious principles governing saintly behavior. So we should beware of false gurus. There's many who pose as gurus nowadays. And so it is important that a disciple discriminate who is a true bona fide guru before the disciple accepts initiation from that guru. So this was just a little glimpse on the guru, the spiritual master, his glories, and how we should serve him, and why we should take initiation. So very quickly I will go over some bona fide gurus previously in our disciplic succession, just to pay tribute to them. So we have A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. So Prabhupada was the Jagat Guru, the master of the whole world. He was given the name Prabhupada. Prabhupada meaning master, and Pada means feet. One at whose feet all the other masters sit. And Prabhupada, actually, his appearance is predicted in the scriptures. So in the Brahma-Vaivarta Puran, Lord Krishna describes that after 5,000 years of Kali Yuga have passed, a great sage and worshipper of Krishna's holy names will appear and spread the chanting of Krishna's name in the form of the Hare Krishna mantra, not only in India but throughout the world. And we know that Prabhupada left Vrindavan to spread the chanting to the English-speaking world, and he opened 108 temples in all throughout the world. And his guru, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he established 64 Gaudiya Math temples. He appeared on the 6th of February 1874, and he taught people how to awaken loving devotion towards Sri Radha Krishna. And then we have Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. He was Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's guru. He lived in Vrindavan doing bhajan under trees. He was very, very renounced, and he chanted 200,000 names of Krishna every day. And then we have Bhaktivinoda Thakur there. He was the manager of the Jagannath temple. He spent his life discussing Krishna, chanting holy name. He wrote several books in Sanskrit. Organized daily Srimad Bhagavatam lectures in the temple courtyard. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a high court judge. He was a deputy magistrate, and yet he was so devotional and spread the Krishna consciousness. And then we have Srila Jagannath Das Babaji, who lived in Vrindavan. We saw he lived for about 144 years. He revealed many holy sites of Navadvip, including Lord Chaitanya's birthplace, Shiva's Angan, etc. We have the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan in the Parampara system, and these are actually their Srimati Radharani's spiritual servants from the spiritual world, the Manjaris of Vraja, who actually came down to this planet Earth for Lord Chaitanya to teach us how to serve Krishna and Radharani. So we have Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Bhatta Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami. We have Jiva Goswami, Gopal Bhatta Goswami. So Jiva Goswami, he wrote the most books, 25 books, and he was the youngest of all Goswamis. Sanatan Goswami also wrote lots of books. Rupa Goswami installed deities of Radha Govinda in Vrindavan. So these are some of the gurus in our Parampara system. So Lord Chaitanya appeared 500 years ago, and he gave us a very simple method to attain perfection, and that is the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. So let us all make our lives perfect by accepting a guru and chanting the mantra received along the Parampara system from Lord Chaitanya. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jai Srila Prabhupada.